Our next caller is Patricia. Patricia calling from New York. Patricia, welcome to Stay Paid.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you today?
Patricia, glad to have you. We are doing fantastic. Hope you're doing well as well. What is your question? What can we help you with?
Oh, my question is that I sent out some postcards and I wanted to know if my target audience, how do I know that it's the right one?
Okay. Can you give me a little background of, one, I'm assuming you're real estate, right? Josh mentioned you're New York.
Yes.
Can you give me a little background of your business and kind of where you're located in New York and what you're trying to accomplish with your postcard farming? Like, what's your ultimately goal with that?
My ultimate goal is to get some listings, but I'm in New York, about an hour north of Syracuse, New York, and it's very rural. And in the population that I chose is a very small town, but I noticed that there's not been a lot of turnover in the homes there. People haven't sold in a while, so I decided that I would, go into that territory because there doesn't seem to be a lot of people there.
Okay. So my golden rule for farming, usually I look at a couple different things. The first thing that I look at is what you just mentioned, which is turnover rate. And turnover rate, for those listening, is purely the amount of homes that sell in a given time frame. So usually I use a year to 2 years, and you can get that data usually by going on your MLS and kind of looking at the area you want to target and seeing how many homes actually sold, and then going to Google and Googling how many homes are actually in that area. So I think you can get that from the U.S. Postal Service, if I'm not mistaken. There's a couple other sites that will give you that. Say that again, Cody.
AI could get it for it too.
Yeah, awesome. Great point. Yeah, so AI can help you get that. So then what Tom Ferry would suggest, right, he's the number one coach in real estate. When we had him on the show, I asked him the question, what turnover rate would you suggest? He always was saying like 6%, 5%. You want to see at least a 5 to 6% turnover rate. So the only times I've seen people farm places that are less than that is for the listing price is a lot higher. So it affords you to be able to market for longer to get one deal, because that is a $1 million, $2 million home or whatever it is. What's your average listing price, Patricia, in this area?
In this specific area, it's about 175,000. It's not very high at all.
So yeah, low listing, average, which is fine. I think Acre Brothers, what are you guys, 280 or something like that?
Yes.
280. Right, somewhere in that. So this is a lower listing price. Do you know the turnover rate off the top of your head?
I do not. I would say it's not 5%. It's lower than that.
Okay. So that would be an action item for you, is get on your MLS and just do some research of like how many homes are actually selling a year. Because that gives you your TAM, your total addressable market, in a way. Like, if 20 homes sell a year, then you can at most get probably 20 sales out of this area. But then you have to factor in, well, Patricia's probably not the only agent in this area. And so you're probably never going to get 100% of that 20. You can get maybe 20% of that 20. So then that tells you your realistic expectation of how many deals you're going to get, which then gives you the commission potential, the GCI potential, which that then tells you the money spend that you're able to spend. So if you're, if we do the quick math here, I'm not good with math, but I'll use my calculator. Let's say 20, for the sake of this example, are going to sell a year in your area. And let's say you can get 20% of that 20, that's 4. If your average listing price is 170, is that what you said, right? 170?
Yeah, 170, 175, yeah.
Right, so that's 680,000 in volume. What's your average commission, Patricia? Is it 2.5, 3%? What's your average commission?
No, 3.5.
Okay, so good for you. Awesome. Yeah. So that's $23,800. Now, I'm assuming you probably have a brokerage split that then has to be done out of that $23,800. So I don't know what your brokerage split is, but let's say, are you giving 20% to your brokerage or something like that? 30% to your brokerage?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll take away now That's minus, about $4,760. So let me go back and basically say you basically have about 19,000 coming in. So then that 19,000, if everybody is staying with me here, 19,000. So how much should you spend in marketing in order to, make it a viable business? A rule of thumb would be if you're trying to maintain, you spend about 10%. If you're trying to gain market share, which is what you're trying to do, if you're trying to get your brand known, you can be 20 to 30%. So let's go high end and say you're going to spend the max amount, 30%. So you can spend $5,700 to go farm this area. So then you go, well, that means I can spend about $475 a month to farm this area. And then you go, well, what can I send, i.e. postcards? And you go, all right, well, our average postcard, what is 80 cents, John? Yeah. 81 cents, somewhere in there. So you can farm about 500 homes, 593 homes once a month. And you will spend about 5,700 for the year. And your goal is obviously you're trying to get, now all this is off of a fake number. I don't know if 20 homes are selling
right
a year in your area. You got to go find that out in your MLS. But that's how you strategically do the math that goes, what am I trying to do here as a business owner? I want to look at my target audience of Syracuse, New York, in this neighborhood that I'm farming. How many homes sell a year? What's my potential? 20% I can maybe capture of that. How much money is that going to net me? Okay, here's my marketing budget I can spend. And you can go after that area. And then the other things I look at when you're choosing your farm, first is turnover rate. Then the second I just walked through, which is, well, how much money, can I actually spend to farm people consistently? Because most people do not hit their farm enough. Once a month is the bare minimum. So I would actually encourage you have check equity, which is that once a month mailer. Then you have sweat equity. So I want you to pick up the phone and actually call everybody in that farm. I want you to go out and door knock if you have the time, everybody in that farm. I know you're in a rural area, so calling's probably better than door knocking.
Yeah.
But that would maybe be your second touch that you're doing over the course of a month or 2 months to that farm. But here's the other thing I would look for in your MLS. Look for the competition. So if you go to your farm area and you pull up your MLS and you see that Acre Brothers Realty is selling out of the 20 listings, they're selling 15 of them. That happened over the course of a year. Acre Brothers is dominating that farm, and it is going to be hard for you to break in. It doesn't mean you can't. It just means think of it as branding. They have a brand established. People know their name. 81% of sellers choose the first agent they talk to. So Acre Brothers has established a brand. You've got to get your brand in the mind of the consumer in front of Acre Brothers brand. And they've planted all these seeds because they're getting 15 of the transactions. So it's going to be harder for you. It's not impossible, but you got to, okay, I'm going to have to spend more money. I'm going to have to do more touches, more sweat equity, build more relationships, hustle more, kiss more babies, as they say. Or is it kiss more babies? No, shake more hands, kiss babies. I don't know.
Babies,
but the point I'm trying to make here is you look on the MLS and go, is there a single agent or team that is dominating this farm area? If not, if it's spread a bunch of other agents, like it's just a myriad of names, perfect. That's a great farm to go into. And then last but not least, when I look at farming, I go, you should be a community farmer, not a transactional farmer. A community farmer is someone who gets known, as Gary Vee would say, as the local mayor of that town. They're the connector. They build the relationships. They're in it for the long haul. I think it's Cody, you like to say they're in it for the career, not the year, which is a great saying of you're trying to build that brand. So those are the things I would look at with farming, starting with getting into your MLS and looking at your turnover rate.
Beautiful.
Anything you guys would add?
Well, that's the ending is a key because you can send postcards out all day, and in my opinion, they're not going to do anything. But what they will do is get your branding in front. So when you call, they have another reference point. The call that he mentioned, the circle prospecting, is key to postcards. It's both combined together. And yeah, I would do any open house that's in the area. I'm calling the agent. I'm doing whatever I can to do that open house. So any event, I might even do like, oh, let's get a food truck out there and do a little event in that community. Invite everyone to it with a postcard. Like you got to be the person of that community if you're going to farm it. It can't just be postcards. So that was
look at the low hanging fruit.
I think I would have to knock on the doors because New York doesn't allow you to no phone calls.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bummer. Yep, you'll have to knock on the doors. The one thing I was going to say, look at the low hanging fruit. So in your farm, Patricia, what FISBOs are popping up and what expired listings are happening within your farm, right? So it's like those are low hanging fruit. Those are people in the farm that are trying to actively sell. And you can reach out to those people, go door knock those people in essence, because they're low hanging fruit in your farm. Remember with farming though, and for everybody listening, farming is a long-term game. It's a brand building game. It is not a direct response game usually. So that means you're trying to essentially plant the seed, water it, and just, take care of that, harvest, or essentially that plant, that crop until the harvest. And most people give up too soon. I always tell people you should minimal farm for a year, but most people don't see return in their farm for like 18 months.
Mm.
And so you just got to keep that in mind.
Career,
And
not year.
say what, Cody?
Career focus, not year focused. When you hear that, tough to hear.
Yeah, it is, because you're gonna spend $5,700 and get nothing in return, and you're gonna feel like I've wasted my money. You're gonna feel like, what am I doing? But you got to keep going. And most of the time, this is that way for all marketing. For all marketing, the leads you generate on Facebook, they take us 10.8 months to close when we generate a lead from our Facebook ads. Right? I think Google is a little less than that. I think Google was like 7 months.
Yeah, it's like 6
farming is over a year. Referrals, it's hard for me to know because you've known that person for years. You know what I mean? So you've really been building brand with your friend for years, right? Trust with your friend for years. It just happens that they needed, real estate today and they chose you. But all marketing is really brand building, trust building, I should say, with the mind of the consumer. And you're displaying that. So any questions on that, Patricia? Hopefully that helps you as you're
It
thinking
does.
through
It
what you're
helps me
doing.
immensely. You've given me many things to think about that I hadn't thought of before. So I plan to go to the MLS and do exactly as you suggested. And I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, is for farming that has produced really well for a lot of agents is creating a Facebook group for that community, a place where you can talk and
That's a
ask
great idea.
questions and all that. It's an easy, free way to then add a bunch of people in that community to Facebook as your friend
Nice.
and get them in talking that you're like leading. That's where you can also post that event that you might do there and all that. But it's an easy way, free way to connect with that farm
Nice.
in addition to that.
I appreciate that's a great idea. Yes. I didn't even think of that. I've actually been going to other community pages and posting on there. And I could create the community page, which I don't believe there is one for this town. So that would be beautiful.
One is posting about what's going on in that town, events, and like not make it about you at all. You're making it about the community and the event, but you're the person that's, starting it all. And you're seen as like the mayor of that town because you're creating this community.
Right.
Yep. So good.
That's beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you, Patricia. Appreciate
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you as well.